Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We're breaking down more grammar things. So last week we went over direct objects and direct object pronouns, right? Which a direct object is like the item that's receiving the action of the verb, right? So whatever is being given, whatever is being hugged, whatever is being gifted, whatever is being sent, whatever is being sold, right? And so the cheater rule you can typically apply is that direct objects are typically going to be things. If you have that in mind, you'll be right about 90% of the time, right? The direct objects is a thing. That lo, la, los, las is an it, right? There are some certain cases where it can be a he or she, but for the most times, it's going to be it. Go ahead and watch that video from last week if you want to see that full breakdown, right? So today, we're going to talk about indirect object pronouns. Indirect object pronouns, right? This is where we're going to get le, he, she, les, they, them, right? So the cheater rule here for indirect objects is that they are typically people, right? Also, they typically have a preposition. A, Juan, de, Juan, para, Juan, right? They're typically going to have some kind of preposition attached to them, right? And so the indirect object, to be very concrete, is the person, or it could be a thing, that receives the direct object. Typically, if you only have one object, that's going to be the direct object. Right? The exception is words related to writing, such as escribir, saying things such as contar, or decir. Here you can get, for example, yo le dije. We'll pretend like this le is, we're talking about Juan here, right? You know, whatever we say, right? Right? Where those words, what is actually being said or written down is considered the direct object. What is being written or spoken is the words, right? And so we can have it even without a direct object, okay? Right? But typically you'll have it, right? For example, we go back to, for example, dar or servir. So dar is to give, servir is to serve, and then we'll use vender. For example, we get tú me das un plátano. Right? You give me a plantain or banana. Él te da un plátano. He gives you a banana. Ellos nos dan plátanos. They give us bananas. Right? Now, what if we want to say we give him or we give her, right? So here we're going to get yo le doy un plátano. Right? I give him or her a banana, right? Or tú les das plátanos. You give them. So le or les brings us to one confusion. Is it him or is it her? Right? So typically with the object pronouns, whether this is me, te, lo, la, le, nos, los, las, les, doesn't really matter, right? We are using these so that we don't repeat something repeatedly, right? For example, in the sentence, I buy flowers for Susie. I take the flowers to the house. I put the flowers in a vase and I give the flowers to Susie. Right? So we're going to take these after flowers, right? We're gonna change it to that pronoun of them. Take them to the house, put them in the vase, and I give them to Susie. Right? Or we could take this bit of to Susie, or we have this preposition here with the indirect, right? And I give her them. I give her them, right? Where we're referring, we switch out her because we already know we're talking about Susie, right? So in the case of les, where we might have that, it'll be clear because we're referring back to somebody or something we've already mentioned, either in the text prior or in the conversation before this, right? And you'll be able to know whether it's him or her, right? For example, if I say, yo le sirvo pollo, right? And we've been talking about John and how he wants to eat, right? The fact that yo le sirvo pollo, I serve him chicken. The le here is him. What if I'm talking about Susie? Well, then it's her. Yo le sirvo pollo, right? I serve her chicken, right? And of course, there's also the option to just translate it as like neutral language, right? I serve them chicken, right? And you just don't have to worry about it. Even though it's le, we're referring to one person, that is also an option we could do as we translate it into English. Right? And one thing to point out is that, for example, tú vendes un aguacate a Pedro, right? So un aguacate here is what's being sold as direct object, right? So I could say tú lo vendes a Pedro, or I could say tú le vendes un aguacate, or tú se lo vendes. So you sell him it, right? Tú se lo vendes, where le or les is going to become se before we put that direct object, lo, la, los, las. And the last thing to point out with indirect objects is if for any reason it's not clear, for example, yo le vendo un carro, and we don't know who it is, we can always put this little bit of Juan, Sally, Pacorin, right? Whatever that name is, we can put it there in order to clarify, right? If ever need be. So what I want you to do, I want you to, down below in the comments, take one of these verbs, dar, servir, vender, pick two of them, come up with two sentences just like this, right? So you sell an avocado to Pedro, right? Maybe you say you give an avocado or you serve an avocado to Pedro, whatever you want, right? Then I want you to identify the direct object, what is being sold, given, served, and replace that. Tú lo vendes a Pedro, just like in the second one, right? Then I want you to go back to this sentence, this first one, and I want you to substitute out the person, the him, her, a Pedro, right? Tú le vendes un aguacate, right? If you just get those three, put them down in the comments, great. If you want to give it a try, do number 4, step number 4, put it as well, right? Thank you guys for your time. I enjoyed having you here in class. Be sure to leave those answers down in the comments below, and I will get back with some feedback for you. And if you have any questions, any comments, any ideas for videos, please leave them down below as well. Thank you so much. Espero que les haya servido de algo y espero verlos pronto en clase, mi gente. Al rato nos vemos. Muchas gracias.